Well, hello there, Tenno, and welcome back to another Get Ready With Me for Steel Path episode, where today we are going to take a look at useful companions. But before we get into it, I'm going to need you to hit the like button, maybe leave a little comment, and if you haven't already, hit the sub button. We have a goal to get to 10,000 subs before 2026. Not that you care, but I do, so hit those buttons, please. And for some reason, if I ask you for your help, you actually do give me your help, which is most kind of you, Tenno. On to the video. Now we have already taken a look at tankier frames to help you survive when you're starting out. We've looked at some primary, secondary and melee weapons that I enjoy using on Steel Path. And now we turn our attention to a useful piece of the Arsenal jigsaw puzzle that are companions. Now, during your time in the game, you will have been introduced, hopefully, to the varying types of companions, being beast companions like Kavats and Cubros, the Deimos infested beast like Vulpaphylas and Predicites, and let us not forget the Helminth Charger. And then we have robotic companions like Sentinels and Mowers and the Hounds. And these companions all have their own types of weapons to mod separately, like claws or melee weapons, rifles, lasers, etc. And once bred or built, all of these companions come with their own Precept Mods. These mods alter the behaviour of a companion's abilities. If a mod has the name of a type of companion on it, then you can only use it with that companion, obviously. However, there are types of Precept Mods that are universal within the class of companions that they are in. And just a little note on Precept Mods. Often the order that you put mods into your configuration matters, and these are no different. So if you do end up putting 4 in on the top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right, that's how the system will read them, i.e. position 1, the information on that one will take priority. It'll check it regularly in a kind of top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right manner, and it'll prioritize whatever instructions you've got in that order, if that makes sense. Now, there are 10 Sentinel companions, plus some of them have a primed variant, and they all come with their own weapon, and you can usually mix and match the weapons with the Sentinel companions once you've got them. There are 4 Mower models, but the parts can be interchanged, but you have the 4 base models, which can be built at Fortuna, and they do actually have these cute little personality mods. If you wanted to buy them, you don't have to. There are 3 Hounds, different Hounds to get. There are 6 Cubros, including a Helminth Charger that is classed as a Cubro, mod-wise. And there are 3 subspecies of Predicites and 3 subspecies of Vulpaphylas. And there are 3 Kavats in the game. However, Cora's Venari Pussycat companion stroke ability is also classed as a Kavat when you are modding it, but it can't be used with any other Warframe apart from our beloved Cora. And when we start thinking about mods, of course, by the time we get to Steel Path, we would like to think that we have collected some of the better mods by now and started to fuse them up if we can. So, of course, there are companion specific mods, which we'll have a look at in a moment, but there are also mods for like your rifle and melee and shotgun that you will have hopefully picked up as you've gone through the game that can also be used in companion build weapons. So as before, it is a smart move to start obtaining these mods, okay, being galvanized mods, dual stat mods, primed mods and so on. It doesn't appear that we need arcanes in any of our companion builds per se yet. We also want to start obtaining, where we can, these bond mods or specific for companion mods, and there are so many options now at the open world. Like we have Cetus with Master Seasonai, and I had to go off and do some hunting, because although you can buy some of these mods for standing at these various areas, there are also ones that you have to trade tags for them, and the tags come in the form of hunting. And as you can see, I had to get a rare Mergu or Margu, and it was a splendid one, and I got 3 tags for picking up that one. And as you can see, that helped me buy one of these mods from Master Seasonai. And I won't bore you on Fortuna with the hunting I had to do here for the Harask. I had to get a rare one to trade tags again for the mods that are here, but if you go to the business, he has all the companion mods that are available at Fortuna. And if we head over to Deimos, the Necrolisc, and we speak to Sun, it is very much the same vibe over there. He has all of the mods that you could ever wish for various standing and tags there. Also very useful to get your hands on them. And let us not forget Cephalon Samaris squirreled away at the relays. He's got some very specific mods that you can go and get for standing from there. Now, as I've mentioned, there are a lot of companions in the game and some of the weapons are interchangeable, but I'm just going to focus on a few of my favourites, and is literally about 3 at a push 4 maybe ish for Steel Path that I really rely on, and I will cover the rest because it's not that they're not good enough for Steel Path at all. They all have a place, and we can talk about loot builds and things like that very briefly, and I can do entirely separate videos if you want that. Just let me know in the comments. But for now, we need to start thinking about our whole entire build, so we want to start thinking about defense reduction. I keep banging on about it, but that's because it's important on Steel Path. So we can use things like abilities, obviously, and we can use Archon shards on our Warframe builds. The Pillage ability reduces armor, Terrify reduces armor. There are other options as well if you have a mooch through your helmet that will strip armor and shields, etc. off your enemies. But we also can incorporate status effects into our builds, like Viral, and that increases damage to the health of your enemies, and it actually bypasses armor. It doesn't actually take the armor off, but it stacks up, and it can be applied more than once it's expired, so it's incredibly useful. And then we have Magnetic, and this works by increasing shield and overguard damage, and multiple stacks can be added, and it disables the target's shield regeneration for a short duration, and when it all breaks, the shield and overguard breaks, it deals electricity damage. I mean, what's not to love? And then we have our beloved corrosive effect, and that actually temporarily removes a certain amount of the target's armor value with multiple stacks, and this is where your green Archon shards come in, because we can add extra stacks of corrosive damage to the enemy. So we're dealing with like stripping off armor, stripping off enemy overguard and shields, and then increasing damage to their health. They really don't stand a chance with these types of status effects incorporated into your builds. Now let's get into one of the absolute best companions for Steel Path. Let's just get straight to it. It's the Panzer Vulpaphyla, and it is an extremely strong companion that provides a consistent source of viral procs for priming enemies for death, allowing for higher damage output from the player. It is a Deimos beast. You must hunt Panzer Vulpaphyla tags during the fast cycle on the Cambion Drift with a pheromone, so you have to go and get this stuff from Sun, and it just automatically attaches to your trank rifle. And when you have got those tags, you then have to head to the Sun to buy some mutagen and antigen blueprints. Now this is like a component build, a bit like a kit gun or a Zor. You need the Panzer Vulpaphyla tag, and you need a mutagen and an antigen built. And if you don't know, the mutagen options just change the resistance to damage types that your finished panzer will have, and also it will change the appearance of the tail. Now the damage types is actually very useful against different factions if you want to take a panzer on different types of missions on high level Steel Path. And the antigen gives you a free former polarity essentially for when you start modding, and it also changes certain aspects of the panzer's appearance. And now I've worked on a few different builds for my Panzer, but honestly you can't go too wrong as long as you get the Panzer Precept mods in there, Viral, Quills and Panzer Devolution, because it just revives itself instantly and just constantly spreads viral effects around. And it's just so tanky for Steel Path. I've seen people take these Vulpaphylas up to level cap, whereupon the beast started taking the enemies down by itself. Now, I personally would not ever need to do that myself, but it's good to know how powerful they can be. And used in conjunction with, I want to say, status spreading Warframes, like maybe Citrine as you see here, Varuna, Lavos, the viral spread's going to be even more devastating. However, I have put these Panzer Vulpaphylas alongside most of my Warframes now, and you just can't go wrong, because all it's doing is boosting up the amount of damage your enemies are taking to their health by whatever means that you've got going on. And look at it spreading that viral that purple number with the little viral blobs next to it. Oh God, it's just so addictive. I highly recommend getting yourself a Panzer Vulpaphyla. I mean, all the Vulpaphylas are good, but this one, particularly with this Precept Mods, with the viral, is top notch. And I would argue that it's probably one of the best, if not the best companion for Steel Path. Now, before we go on to the next companion, which is a Sentinel, I just wanted to talk about the robotic Sentinel weapons. Now, there are a lot of them, and some of them are really, really good, but the one that I use, like the default S tier one that I use, is always going to be the Verglass Prime. It is one of the best Sentinel weapons out there, so I haven't done a huge amount of work on all my others. I am starting to, but this is the one that I use, so I'm not recommending it or telling you to use it. I'm just saying, for the purposes of this video, this is the one that's going to be inserted into my Sentinels. And that brings us neatly on to one of my favourite Sentinels, and that is the Nautilus Prime. It offers excellent crowd control by pulling enemies together with its Cordon preset mod. I freaking love this preset mod. Some have suggested pairing it with the Cryotra weapon, as it can freeze enemies, and it also increases critical damage. But again, I'm putting my Verglass Prime in. The Cordon mod is the star of the show for me, though. It groups enemies and applies cold procs. The Nautilus is originally a Railjack support Sentinel, pre-equipped with its preset mods Auto Omni and the aforementioned Cordon. So you can take it on Railjacks, and it does work quite nicely. However, it does really work very nicely in every other mission too. So it has massively benefited my builds on Steel Path. The grouping option allows us to helmet something else onto our Warframes if we wish, because it is really useful to sort of paralyze and group enemies together on Steel Path instead of them attacking you, which is where the electricity procs come in useful. If you're stunning the enemies, they can't be shooting at you. And now the other role of Sentinels or Companions is to also try and keep you alive. You can set them up to help shield gate if you so wish. I haven't done that too much yet because I don't quite understand their role in that so far, but there are so many options when you're modding Companions, whether you want them to support you, whether you want them to damage the enemies, whether you just want them to be spreading status effects or grouping enemies, or doing something like, oh, I don't know, scanning the enemies. And that's where our next companion comes in. Now, I'll be honest, using these two on Steel Path has actually done me really well. If you look back at my previous Steel Path videos, the Nautilus and the Panzer Vulpaphyla feature incredibly heavily in all of my builds. However, I do have multiple configs, as you just saw, that I do, and I'm still trialing in different situations to see which ones do better. And I'll show you some other companion options I use now and again, but please bear in mind that these are just builds that I have worked on and used for myself, mostly solo, so I'm not here telling you that there are no other builds or other mods or possible configs that you could possibly use. And I just keep adjusting them as I go anyway, as I learn and develop my builds. I still don't have all of the available bestest mods. For example, there is a mod called Bite. It is hard to get hold of. You get them from Earth, Sabotage, Caches, and I think they drop from certain enemies in the game. Or you can buy it. At the moment, it's going for like 60 plat. That's how hard to get hold of it is. And that is a great companion mod, and I really want it. But nope, I don't have it yet. But I suspect it will make a dramatic difference. And this is what I'm learning as I go through these companion builds, is that I'm still lacking a few crucial mods. However, I just wanted to show you that without those crucial mods, look, you can still have a whale of a time on Steel Path, as long as you are building your whole arsenal to work together in a beautiful synergy of murderings. Now, let's talk Simulacrum very briefly. This is a place in the game where you can go and test your build in a safe environment, in a controlled environment, up to a certain enemy level and Steel Path variants, depending on where you're at in the game and what MR you're at. And there are different simulacrums to collect that give you different max enemy levels. But, like I said, it's a controlled environment, but you need to fill this simulacrum with enemies that you've scanned during your time in the game. Now, you can scan enemies yourself using the Codex scanner and also the scanner that you get from Cephalon Samaris. There are weapons that you can get that will scan when you kill things, but there is a companion that will scan things for you called the Helios companion. And this is really useful to take on Steel Path because it'll start scanning, I guess, the higher level enemies, the harder to find enemies. And once you've got a group of enemies, you can then upload them like you saw in the simulacrum and test those builds out. So I've taken my Helios in a lot of places in the game, and if you focus on the screen, look, it's glowing red on that enemy, which means it's scanning it, and it makes a little noise, and after that it'll like start showing you the weak points of the enemies. And as you can see, it's applying cold procs. I actually don't know if that's the Verglass Prime doing that, but either way, the Helios is a really good companion for Steel Path. And early on in the game as well, you can get the Helios scanning those enemies. You'll be filling up your simulacrum without you even realizing it. It will scan a ton of things for you, and some things it needs to scan more than once to add it to the simulacrum, by the way. Oh yes, it's not just a one-time deal. No, it's an ongoing thing. And it's taken a moment to fill up my simulacrum, and as you saw, I still have some spaces of things I need to scan in the game, so I'm still going through with my Helios and getting those bad boys scanned. But it really does help because it starts to help you test out your build and just to see what is actually doing the damage and what's working well together. And if you switch out one mod and put another one in, is it doing okay? You can control that environment and control the enemies and just see how that status is spreading and whether it's doing it to your satisfaction or not. It's just a very, very good place to go. And yes, it's not always the same as being in a mission with all the crazy stuff going on, but it is a good, very good place to start. Now, when I was compiling this list, I was just going to show you the ones that I use a lot on Steel Path, and the Diriga, or Diriga, I don't know how you pronounce it, was one that I was using a lot of with Majaya build on Steel Path, specifically for Lua Circulus when I'm doing the Void Relic missions of often the Omni fissures. However, when I actually took it to the simulacrum and tested it for this video to show it off, yeah, it looked like it was doing faff all. So I had to really actually rethink it, and that's when I started using the simulacrum to test other companions with Jaya to see if they would spread the electric boogaloo goodness around even more. Now, our beloved ballerina of electricity doesn't really need a lot of help to spread it around because she is potent. But I'm just going to show you a bit of footage of her in mission with the Diriga, and in my mind this has been spreading all the electric goodness around. However, when I went to the simulacrum, it showed that it wasn't really. So correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I thought I tried a few different companions. Like, we've got the Hound, we've got Kavats, we've got all sorts of things that we can try with our beloved Jaya. So now that I've mentioned Kavats and Hounds, I just want to end the video talking about them a little bit, because even though they're not classed as like absolute meta and S tier companions, they are still very, very good companions. I think there's very little between the companions. It's just when you get to Steel Path, you really do need that status spreading effect, and you don't have to, but if that's what you want to boost up your build, then taking the Panzer with its viral spreading is top notch. But there might be times where you want that accordion effect from Nautilus. There might be times where you want to scan enemies, but there might be times where you want to go looting, because Steel Path has a lot of loot. And the Smeeta Kavat specifically is very good for that, because the Smeeta comes with its own mod, the Charm mod, and then you have these prosperous and resourceful retriever mods, which you can put in any of your beasts, but putting them in the Kavats just seems really useful, especially the Smeeta, because you get the Charm mod that gifts you something every now and again, and then you can put either a cred booster or a resource booster mod in. And if you take a Cora build with the Venari, you get 2 companions, and Cora's Pilfering Strangledome augment mod can also boost up your loot. So I just wanted to show you the effect that can have, and if you have a resource booster on as well, or you've got one from, I don't know, Baruki tier, you got a 3-hour blessing, go crazy on Steel Path, because you will pick up so much good stuff. And of course the Adaza can boost up your crit damage as well, by the way, as well as boosting up your resources with those mods. Anyway, last but not least, I want to mention the Hounds. They are all useful. It doesn't appear to be much difference between the 3 different models that you can get. It seems that the mods that come with them are identical each time, and it's the mods that make them useful. They are obtained from defeating the Sisters of Parvos, a bit like the Kuva Lich fights, and then the parts become available at Fortuna with weapons as well, which I'm pretty sure you can put some of those weapons in the mowers as well. They do pack a punch, and although again they're not my absolute first go-to for Steel Path sort of higher level content, I wouldn't want you to ignore them entirely, because A, they are really cute and they've got amazing sound effects. And also they're fun to use, but also they do a lot of damage. They pack a punch. And I believe they often use a melee instead of an actual pew-pew weapon as well. So I really like these preset mods that they come with, the innate mods. Again, they're all identical for each of them. And I really do feel like they are worth having a little go. And as I say goodbye to you as we wrap this video up, I'm just showing you a bit of footage of Cora with the Djinn. Now, the Djinn is by no means my go-to at all in the game, let alone Steel Path, but I kind of wanted to show you the idea that even if you aren't using the best companions with the absolute best builds, if the rest of your arsenal has improved by the time you get to Steel Path, the companion isn't going to always make or break you when starting out on Steel Path. And as you can see, it is doing absolutely fine and dandy-o, even without pairing it up with the Gazelle Machete, which, if you didn't know, the Djinn and the Gazelle Machete work in conjunction with each other. Something to do with toxin damage or corrosive. I can't remember. I don't have a Gazelle Machete, so I couldn't test it out. But you just don't get any extras like resource dropping or like too much status spreading effects. So again, it really does come down to, in the game, to where are you heading on the star chart? What is your goal? And what is your playstyle? Because it's all very well and good us on YouTube recommending things to use and do X, Y, and Z, and you will be unstoppable, but it might not work out for you. You might be like, what the hell are you guys and gals talking about? Because this hasn't worked out for me, and that's absolutely fine. Everyone's got their own playstyle in this game, and yes, there is meta stuff, there's the S tier stuff that will obviously muller the stuff quicker for you and allow you to have the funsies, but if it's not gelling for you, don't worry about it. Go and try something else. There are so many endless options. And with the mods and the archons and the arcanes and the everythings that are heading into the game and all the new quests and all the new stuff, we really can't complain too much. And we do have some amazing weapons, some amazing incarnates. They really have kind of spoiled us in recent years. I remember a time when it was really tough going, you know. I'm joking, but you know, the whole like your parents had to walk through the Antarctica to get to school kind of vibe. It, you know, it used to be like that in Warframe. It was tough going, man. Everything was hard going, man. Now it's kind of easier street, and a lot of people saying, I had to take this off my build because it was boring. It was too easy. So, I mean, that's what the elite Archimedean stuff is for, you know, to test you and your builds. Anyway, my darlings, there are some ideas for you. Go and get yourself some Vulpaphylas. Have a wander around the Campion Drift, man. Halloween is coming. There's a reason to be there. Don't forget to get your mother tokens. Oh yes, the Narberus event is on its way. As I record this, by the time you watch it, it might have been and gone. Who knows what time frame you're watching it. But around Halloween every year, we have a lovely, spooky little event there, and you just need a ton of mother tokens if you're a kleptomaniac, so keep an eye out for that. And of course, the Plague Star is about to come out, as I'm recording this, near the beginning of September. Let's see what that brings. Lots of former, one hopes. In the meantime, my darlings, I want to thank you so much for joining me on this little Steel Path series. If you'd like me to continue it and show you some final builds, show you some good builds for specific things to do, the resource boosting builds, the loot building builds, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm tired, it's been a long day, and that being said, I really do need your support at the moment on my channel. I've seen some rumours that some settings have changed on YouTube and that, you know, family friendly settings are automated now. Now, I don't make my video channel content specifically for family friendly stuff. It's not that it's not family friendly, it's just that now and again I've sworn and said naughty things in some of my other playthroughs because I'm a gamer and I can't help myself. So I'm hopefully not going to miss out on too many people, but please bear in mind that YouTubers, we can't continue doing this without your support. Like, we literally need you to support us, not just watch the videos. No, that is very appreciated, but we really need you to like the videos, comment on the videos, subscribe, even maybe treat yourselves and press the bell button. Maybe come to our channels now and again and have a mooch for our playlists. Anything you can do helps the YouTube algorithm for YouTube channels like myself. Now, in the meantime, I want to thank you so much for all of the help you've given me, all the support, my beautiful Discordians, my wonderful YouTube members. You're all freaking awesome. Let's continue to grow. I love it here. Don't let me fade away, okay? Hold my hand. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. I really do hope to see you again in the next one, no matter what it may be. But in the meantime, you take care now and goodbye.